So when you come to the corner of your granny square or anything that you want to change direction when using trebles, you'll actually put 2 treble clusters into each gap. So I've got 1 here, then we do 2 chains in between, and then you'll come in to another treble, through and out. That's 1 treble. Like that, but you see you're making another gap there, and it's slightly bigger than all the other gaps because you've got to get 2 into it, whereas the other clusters you've only got to get 1. Right, so then come in and do another treble, and there's my 2 sets of trebles, 1, and then carry on doing 1 set of treble clusters in each gap. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm using a boho yarn here, which they are rowed rather than spun, so you do come to places like this where you've got sort of a bit of sloughing, but that's okay. Some people break the yarn and take it out, but I don't see any need for that. That's just adding knots to your work. Just continue and crochet through it. The thing is, when it's into the greater scheme of things and you've got a whole blanket, you're not going to really notice those places where you've got a little bit. So through the treble, you go round through the gap. So you've got 3 on your hook, pull through 2, pull through 2 again, and you get something that's the size of 3 chains, which is why when you start, hang on, just wrap that up my finger again, get the tension. When you start a row of trebles, you have 3 chains at the beginning. I'm doing a granny square here, so I'm coming up to the next corner. 1, 2, 3, and 1. Now here, you see there's another corner. Can you see that? Where you've got 2 into. We're just going to do the same again. 1 treble. 2 trebles, 3. So that's 1 cluster into that gap. And do 2 chains to make a wider gap there, because obviously we've got to fit 2 clusters in instead of 1. Continue. And then this has formed the next part of my corner. So you can see there's a corner. And this one is where I'm going to go into the next row up. So that corner, I've started with a treble cluster. I'll do another treble cluster, slip into that. Oh, in fact, I'll do that. You might as well see that happening too. do 1 and then I've just got a little tangle there. That's a treble cluster, a chain, another treble cluster. And you can see with this boho yarn, because it's variegated, you can see the colour changing. So it went from grey, pale grey around here, into white, and now I'm getting into a delicate pink. That's what I love about these yarns. There's not a point where it just goes white, stop, pink, stop. You've got a delicate variation in the yarn. Hang on. This is because I've got it tangled under my table. There we go. Sometimes the yarn sticks to itself, sort of. Right, so we're coming up. That's the last full treble. Then we've got this corner. So we go treble into the gap, treble again to make my cluster. 1, 2, and then this is the other half of that cluster. So we go into the top chain and slip. So that finishes with the corner. Ooh, trying to put that out with your hand. And then you do a chain. 1. I try not to pull these too tight because I'm going to want to go into that top chain next time around. So there's my chain, and then my treble cluster, my first treble cluster is going to go in to that space. So that chain of 3 represents the first treble, 2 trebles, and then if you keep hold of your yarn around your fingers, yeah, there we go. There's the first treble into that corner. So I'll go all the way around, and when I come up here, this is where we're moving up a step with the next treble cluster in that gap.